Happy birthday. Today, LLA turns 5 months old with this channel. An incredible achievement. From day one, this channel was very popular because of a certain reason. We were helping people that needed help because no one was getting help. No one was speaking up for them. No one was there to give them motivation. No one was there to answer their questions. And then they also didn't realize that there were other people that had the same concern as them, that were getting the same runaround, and no one was around to help them. And this was in the face of a pandemic that had just started less than a month before. And we came and we were there. 4 videos the first day: EIDL, PPP, PUA, and then another EIDL. And quickly we caught on because we were helping people. Today, the situation is no different. And when we refer to the purple power, it's maybe an expression we use to describe what we're doing now, but it's something we've been doing all along, and it's something as a family we should continue to do forever. Good evening, everybody. This is LALATE on a 5-month anniversary of this channel that on day one was helping people, and on day whatever this is, day whatever, 5 months to the moment, we're still helping others. But the spirit is not just us helping, but everyone helping one another. I really appreciate you for joining me for this special report on Purple Power versus Pelosi, but really a special that focuses on more than just what she's doing, but what you and I are doing together, getting through this, helping one another, and moving forward in the face of a very unusual circumstance that we hope we never encounter again in our lives, this horrible pandemic. If there was a time to become part of this family and subscribe, it's tonight. Go to the front channel, subscribe, and drop your comments below. I might feature them in tomorrow's recording. And also like the video, because this is going to be the best video to end the night on, unless you're watching one of those favorite cat or dog videos that I watch a lot of before I go to bed. Purple power is what we describe now, but it's, and used to describe what we're doing now, but it's what this channel's been doing since day one. The focus of this channel on that very first day was twofold. One, ensuring that I'm not dropping my drink off camera. Yeah, I was drinking. And two, ensuring that I explain to people what's going on and ensuring to them that we can get through it. That very first day, a lot of stuff was erupting, and a lot of people didn't know how to get from point A to point B. And ironically, the same situation still the situation today. Today, as I am at the 5th month of this channel, I've recorded a unemployment video every single day since day one. I mean, can you imagine how many videos it is? I recorded almost every microcosm of unemployment that a person can record because there's been so much confusion. And the reason why I started the very first day on unemployment was for the obvious reason that you and I know. Unemployment offices were simply unable to be gotten on the telephone. You couldn't get them on the phone. You couldn't get questions answered. When are my checks coming? How much do I get? How do I fill out this application? What is PUA? How do I apply for PUA? What's FPUC? Do I have to separately apply for FPUC? Do I do UI before I do PUA? Why is the state's website down? Why is PUA not live? I did absolutely every version of that, and I did it for a lot of different permutations, as some states went live with some things and other states were not. In fact, we're dealing with the same situation today, as some states are now starting to pay out the final weeks of LWA. Some states have already had the final weeks of LWA paid out. Other states are simply saying, in our state, Florida, you can go in a bar and take off your mask, but we're only giving you 3 weeks of LWA. choose your vice. It's just like, yeah, that's your governor. So as we sit here tonight, a lot of things have not changed, but other things have. I never would have thought on day one that when I was reporting on certain things that certain items would change so often. And it's ironically the same situation as we deal with stimulus tonight. A lot of things is changing with stimulus. To think that I am now dealing with the fifth version of a stimulus bill for just the second stimulus check. I mean, we're only on the second stimulus check of the second stimulus package per se. And to think how many versions of bills I've had to deal with, and you've had to deal with, and how many we have to keep track of, and how we have to say, oh, ignore that one. Oh, it's not a bill. Oh, it's just a Mitch proposal. Oh, it hasn't, it makes a person confused. But why am I used to this? Because I was doing it on day one of this channel. EIDL was making people very confused the very first day. People were told when they applied for the EIDL grant or loan, they were supposed to get $10,000 within 3 days. That's what the application said. Imagine filling out an application in the middle of the pandemic when you really need money. You really, really, really need money, and you're filling out an application that says you will get $10,000 you will get $10,000 within 3 days of signing this form. And then you don't. And then 10 days go by and you still have nothing. And then 20 days go by and you still have nothing. Well, then came me, April 25th. And by April 25th, people had applied around March 29th, I think is when the application went live. Imagine I'm coming in at the 25th day and no one had gotten a penny. I'm not exaggerating. It literally was no one. And I'm telling you for the purpose of second stimulus, that imagine you're waiting for your second stimulus check and you don't understand why Congress is not giving you a second stimulus check. Well, imagine when you're filling out a form that's a federal form that says you absolutely categorically will get $10,000 in 3 days, and there's no one in the entire United States has gotten a single penny in 10 days, let alone now 35 days later. That's what's going on. And so as we sit here tonight, as we're dealing with second stimulus, it's important to understand you will get a second stimulus check. And I'm going to say tonight's statements in the way in which I said them on day one. I'm going to bring OG back to the present. On day one, I said, you're going to get, this is how I did it, I had a lot of hands back then, you're going to get your EIDL grant. You will get your EIDL loan. I'm going to say it now. You're going to get your second stimulus check. You will get your second stimulus check. I also said on day one, stay positive, stay focused, don't stress out, it will come to you. Same thing for tonight. You're going to get a second stimulus check. I don't know what day it is. I don't know what day it's going to land in your bank account. It's not going to be there tomorrow. It's not. This is not the Jetsons. This is not I Dream of Jeannie. Yeah. Barbara Enid's not going to shake her head. It's going to appear right there. There's a check. Ah, yes. It appeared a minute. No. But you're going to get your second stimulus check. Absolutely. And what's so wonderful about this family now is that everyone is so informed and educated. And people were treating us like a bunch of idiots. Can I say that? Yeah, I'm going to say that. People were treating us like a bunch of idiots. We're not a bunch of idiots. And people are still trying to treat us like a bunch of idiots. There's a lot of extraneous chatter out there that everyone that listens to something is sort of an idiot. No, we're not idiots. We know what's going on. So when we applied for an EIDL grant and we waited for 2 months, did we forget about it? No. Did we get false hope? No. Did we think it's going to land? We just didn't know, but we thought it was eventually. Well, there was this guy that kept on doing this. You're going to get it, and you got it. You're going to get your second stimulus check. It's not quite clear what day. It's not quite clear what path. But we do know is all the other things that are really at issue here. First, there are certain forces that are trying to get you second stimulus checks, and there's other forces that are trying to do much of nothing. We understand that. Second, we understand the issue of eligibility, which really was a big issue when I first moved into the space. One of the very first things I was covering on not the day one of this channel, but the day one on stimulus was all my SSDI, SSI, Social Security, Railroad benefits, and Veterans benefits viewers never had anyone to explain anything to them. And never had anyone explain to them, why didn't I get a first stimulus check? And trust me, I had hundreds, if not thousands of comments those first couple of days said they just don't want to give us stimulus checks because we're on SSDI. People thought there was a personal reason why they did not get a first stimulus check. And I had to explain day after day after day that no, you didn't get a stimulus check because you're dependent on someone else's tax return? Is that the case? Yeah. Well, that's because the government messed up. They should not have had that provision in the first stimulus package that if you're a dependent, you don't get a first stimulus check. It's a horrible rule. And so I brought it to that point. The next point I brought it to was the issue of the non-filer filing. A lot of people didn't realize if you never did a non-filer filing, you may not get a first stimulus check, you may not get a second stimulus check. As other people said, just, don't talk about anything. No, we have to talk about minutia. That's minutia. That was very much a post-EIDL comment by me. Back in the EIDL videos, I would talk about a lot of minutia. Did you have the routing number right? Did you have the bank number right? Did you have the checking number right? Did you have I did a lot of detail. Details why you would not have gotten his first stimulus check because something was wrong. You had not done a non-filer. We're dealing with that detail tonight all across the board. We understand how the problem solver's bill does not have $500 dependents, has dependents at $500. Wrong. It should be $1,200. We understand that the problem solver's bill does not have FPUC retroactive. Wrong. It has to be retroactive. Why are we starting FPUC in October? What's incredibly great news, even when I think about what I just said, that last sentence, I think, boy, a month ago, I had a whole problem of bringing viewers up to speed and understanding that PUA is not FPUC. I had so many viewers saying, I'm getting that PUA, that $600 a week. I'm like, that's not PUA, that's FPUC. Oh, and then they would say, I'm getting FPUC and UI. Or no, there was another word. Anyway, they were getting PUA and FPUC confused, and I'm getting confused trying to explain how they were confused. It shows you how confused it was. Well, tonight, people know what FPUC is. People know what LWA is. Can you imagine the progress that we've all reached in such a short period of time? People understand that there's a bailout for the second stimulus package that's holding up your stimulus checks. People understand that it doesn't cost $3 trillion to send out stimulus checks. Stimulus checks don't cost $3 trillion, nor does it when you add hazard pay and all these additional things. That's information. And information has always been the spirit of this channel since day one. And yeah, where did I get this information from? Well, I got it from you. On day one, I only had a certain amount of information about EIDL and a certain amount of information about PUA and UI. But what I did was I did cold reads on camera, as I'm still doing today. I took your comments, I read them on camera, and while today you may talk more about my hair and bunny rabbits and cows, back in the day I would get a lot of questions, and I encourage you to still give me lots of questions. I was answering some questions on camera tonight. I mentioned Jennifer's question twice, which is a great question about Minutia and Nancy. If you have questions about logistics and things like that and getting money, please drop it in the comments. I answered your questions. By answering your questions, I realized, one, this was a problem. Two, we need to figure out how to fix it. And three, a lot of people are having the same problem. And guess what? When other people heard the same question, it resonated because other people realized, wait, that's what I was thinking. There's someone else that has the same concern that I do? I've had viewers who, for example, would hear me talk about the non-filer filing for the second stimulus check, and I'd say, well, are you on SSDI, you don't file taxes, and you have a child? Does the IRS know you have a child? Because you filed something for them with the IRS? No. Oh, need to do a non-filer filing. And I'd have viewers say, oh, I didn't do that. Should I do that? Yeah, that's why you haven't gotten the $500 check for the child during the first stimulus package. It's that type of hearing one information for me, taking that information, imparting to you, and then helping a broader number of people. But it's the spirit of the channel in which other people help other people. On a daily basis, there are people from Colleen to everyone else that sort of jumps into the comments and tries to help other people answer questions. In a channel that gets, I want to be very clear how big things are, a channel that gets upwards of about 50,000 comments per day across the channel and social media. It's harder than what for one person to answer more than a certain number of questions. And so that's a lot of questions going unanswered. And so ultimately, if you see a question and it's not answered, maybe you know the answer, give that person some assistance. I've had incredible viewers who took the information of this channel and helped other people. I had one person just recently said, I found a grant because you told me about that scandal where there's $150 billion from the first stimulus package that's unused and is now being sent out as grants locally by state and local. I found one. found one in Florida, and I called up my neighbor, my friend, and someone else. We're all senior citizens. We all applied, and we got in by the deadline. Thank you, LALATE. That's helping others people. That's the spirit of the channel. I always talk about, and it's deeply a concern of me and a deep worry for me on a regular basis, of people who don't have internet. So if you don't have internet, because certainly, you don't have money for other things, how do you know what's going on, and how do you know the things that could give you relief? And so what I always tell people is tell your friends or neighbors that may be in a worse situation than you, here's the information you may need. It's especially concerned when I talk about rent. I know it's one of the least watched videos on a daily basis, and sort of a testament to this channel's motive and mindset. If this channel was only focused on one thing, rent would have been gone a long time as a video on this channel. It's one of the least watched videos on this channel. It gets about 9,000 views on a given day. How small is that? Most of our videos get 9,000 in 20 minutes. And so that video gets 9,000 a given day. But we stay with the story because rent is such an important story. If people say one thing, they can say what they want, but our focus has been helping people. And so the reason why we've recorded over 100 something rent videos is because the situation is so important. Do you not know that the CDC application requires you to do 15 other steps before you get the rent eviction moratorium? Do we know that the mortgage forbearance may not apply to you if it's a private mortgage? Do we know that you could be getting rent grant locally separate apart from the federal government? There's all these things that I'm dealing with on a given basis and a daily basis because they help so many people. And ultimately, if I help one person, that's enough. There's back in the day, a month ago, where we were doing so many EIDL loan solutions. These are people who had applied for a loan, had been waiting for the loan since the pandemic hit, have not gotten a penny, and we came in, and in 24 hours we got their loans approved and they got their funds, $150,000. We were doing sometimes, there was a certain week where we were doing about 5 wins, I call it them wins, where they're getting their loans approved because of us. Within 24 hours, we did about 5 wins a day. We're doing over 1 million of processed loans per day at one point. At one point, we went from Thursday to a Monday, and I think we did upwards of 15 to 20 loans we got approved, but for this channel. It was absolutely categorically insane. And those people turned around and helped others. The promise at the time I said to those viewers was, please stay around and help others. And they did. And they helped, and they helped, and they helped. Danny was one of the earlier viewers whose help spawned so many other people. It also spawned the private, and I've always credited him for his initial help. He was one of the viewers who I helped get a loan. And I said, and he thanked me. And I said, if you have any contacts that I can use to help get other people money, and get their loans processed faster, share that with me. And he did. And those contacts resulted in more contacts, resulted in more contacts, and resulted in more contacts. It became a domino effect of helping people. As we sit here on the 5-month anniversary, I hope this has inspired you. I hope this has helped you realize that in the face of a Congress that is really a bunch of nincompoops that are just, a bunch of rich SOBs that do much of nothing, that we're not all like that. We're trying to work around it. We're trying to work around it, get what we need. We're trying to get to the finish line. We understand we're not getting things the way we should have got to them, but ultimately it's not going to be that way indefinitely. We're going to get to the end. And so with that, stay positive, stay motivated, stay focused, stay informed. Thank you for being a part of this family over the 5 months, and there's a lot more to come. People always ask me on final comments. People ask me on a daily basis, what are you going to do when this is all over? The deal has always been, if you don't leave, I won't leave. So go to the Friends channel, subscribe, and drop your comments below. I might feature them in tomorrow's recording, and then like this video. Coming up tomorrow morning, 8:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time is Mornings LALATE. Let's make it a bombshell and well-watched video. Maybe I'll wear a scarf. As always, stay informed, stay motivated, and stay in LA for more.